Unfriendly conditions at the Castle Road Special School inside the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is forcing authorities to turn away fresh students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The school, established 34 years ago, is being run on the benevolence of teachers and other individuals and the harsh conditions which deteriorates the condition of the students. Joynews Komla Adom reports Ghana's goal of promoting inclusive education could be undermined by the situation at the facility, which authorities describe as dire.
Hey, no, Jen, what do you collect from them?
Laugh for laugh, some laugh for money, some laugh for beauty, some laugh.
He was brought to the Castle Road Special School inside the Accra Psychiatric Hospital as a boy with intellectual disability. That was more than 20 years ago. Samuel is over 30 years now, and somehow still clinging on to the faintest of dreams of becoming the administrator he's wanted to be. In the special school here, he calls himself assistant headmaster. Of course, he is the eldest of 32 pupils with various forms of intellectual and development disabilities. Here, it's class session and their teacher, Daniel Lumo, is teaching something about counting numbers.
More about counting numbers.
Today's class has just about 8 students, and the others are their various wards inside the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Some of the students are participating in the class activity. Some others, uncomfortable with the sitting arrangements, are distracted. Samuel would not contribute to the lesson. His other mates will attempt answering some questions. One after another, they are called up to the front of the class to answer some questions.
Which number is that? Show it to the class. Show it to the class. Mention it. 3. Number 3. Okay. Show me on the board. Show me number 3. Wow! That's good.
The classroom is sited close to the hospital's kitchen, and so food aroma, steam and fumes emitted directly affects the students. Also, heat from the kitchen makes sitting in the classroom unbearable and learning not conducive. But this is what these students have to make do with. Headmaster of the school, Frederick Amejake, says some students with severe forms of intellectual disability suffer seizures sometimes.
Whenever the weather is too warm, we get a lot of seizures in the class. Yes, and it's very difficult. With the fewer teachers we have here, and with a nurse who help us to take good care of them. Sometimes the seizure is so severe that they can hardly come out of it. So you, the teacher, have to wait. And so if you get additional, maybe you get wheelchairs, that you can hold the child back to the ward, then you, the teacher.
Before the class session ends that day, Samuel recites a poem, something about love.
Laugh for laugh, some laugh for money, some laugh for beauty, some laugh for pleasure, but they that laugh not love me strangely, but it is nature. It is faith, let it be so.
From the words of this poem, the other special children, some of whom have been abandoned by their families, are craving for affection.
Looking at their condition, we need a lot of toys, but they are very destructive. You put a toy now, you attend to a particular, you come back to the toy spot. So you need to have enough toys, enough puzzles, color books, pencils, erasers, rulers, glue, paper glue, pins, sellotape. Those are the things we need. Football, we have the bigger size and smaller size for massaging and all those things. So we need all those things to help them play in the school. We look at their number and look at their disabilities and the level of which they operate. So therefore, if I should teach one child in a regular system, if you equate to these children, I'm teaching about 10 of them. If I to teach one child here, I'm teaching 10 children in a regular system. We need teachers. Looking at the conditions here, teachers come and they leave.
According to their teacher, Daniel Lumo, teaching these students requires special provisions. Sadly, the school, since the 1980s, has yet to receive any grants or budgetary allocations.
The place doesn't look like school. We are ignored by our own education center. Every school is supposed to be giving grants. Since I came here,
we don't have any grants from anywhere. Mostly, we use our own money for most of the things that we do for the kids, administrative work, the head, and other colleagues. We use our own money.
The state of a school discourages teachers posted by the Ghana Education Service. So the school lacks general and specialized teachers. Even Daniel almost deserted the school.
When we were posted here, I think the first time I wanted to take transfer and then go back because we study, even though we study about them, we study other aspects that we can be. Then when we were posted, the former head, so we met, I said, no, I'm going back. So I quickly ran to the Metro Education Office to ask them that no, I want to go to my second area, which is English language. So I was about to be given the letter, but I don't know. I went by, then something just touched me, no. I have to be committed to the work that's I learned. So let me come to my major side.
Right, so we're not actually done with our conversations about mental health, but right now we have on Skype the Executive Director of Basic Needs, Peter Badimak Yarrow, to discuss this issue further. Thank you very much, Mr. Yarrow, for making time to speak with us. Now, if we look at the case of this special school, Castle Road Special School, it's not so different, or it's rather a reflection of the generally poor state of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. I'm sure you'd agree with me on that. But then again, isn't that the case with how our governments generally have treated social services?
Thank you, Israel. I mean, you are absolutely right. That is the way, as a government and as a state, we have treated social services. And that is not good enough for us trying to go into the middle income, upper middle income bracket in terms of our classification as an economy.
Mr. Yarrow, why do you think it is so easy for the state to simply ignore or neglect social services this way?
Well, I think we have all come to the agreement that this neglect is simply because, as psychiatrists say, because, and we do agree as advocates, that because mental illness does not kill, as compared to diarrhea, cholera, or malaria, and maternal and child mortality and actual deaths. So people easily wish away issues of mental health. We have also been so socialized to view mental illness as something that has been brought on the person himself. And if not, it has a connotation of somebody's. So if people who are supposed to attend to it can avoid it, the better, because they don't want to be associated with something that is so stigmatizing. It is not the interesting thing to do. But if you can just shift it a bit to issues of education, if you do not care about the mental health of people, how about education of the young people? If we are talking about all the initiatives and policies to address education across all levels, and we are neglecting such a basic education institution that would help those who are most vulnerable to come at least at par and be future citizens who will be useful to themselves. Then from the point of view of education, at least the educational authorities and all who matter should give better emphasis and resourcing of this facility than what we are hearing.
Now, so let's look at it this way. We have a state that's not so interested in the case of education of people with intellectual disabilities. And then we also have a society that would rather not have anything to do with them. How else do you feel that we can resolve this challenge?
We have to address that from a number of levels. From the policy level, if we have inclusive special needs education policy, then we have to let it really reflect practically in what is being done. Then there are the resourcing issues. From the policy, you have to resource the policy and ensure that it is disseminated and implemented as prescribed. And that means having enough special education teachers who are actually motivated to work with these kinds of children because they are special. They need very patient people, expert people. They need specialized teaching and learning materials. They need accessible physical environments, including buildings and classrooms. And this requires somebody who would say, yes, we want to invest in this, because the examples of the number of people with disability who have made discoveries and have led certain innovations that have changed and transformed societies and the world are so many that we cannot use their different disabilities or developmental challenges, cognitive needs, to just wish them away. We have come far, and I've always said we have had enough innovations, enough evidence of how people can be managed with mental health care needs. People with intellectual disability can be managed, and we cannot afford to say that we cannot do it. The innovations are there to help people.
Mr. Yarrow, so granted, we have a situation where government has failed to do that, or government is not doing that. Is there a way society can mobilize, or civil society can mobilize to do something for these people?
I want to start by thanking Joy FM for using valuable time to focus on this. I know there are many other issues you could have focused on, and that is one great thing you guys have done, and we commend the multimedia company, as you have always done. And that also goes on to advocacy organizations like our organization and others in the field out there who can continue to drum home this. And we also encourage parent-teacher associations, especially children who can go to mainstream schools. Specialized schools are good to have, but if we can really develop our mainstream schools that make it possible for people with special care needs to be included, then we will be going a long way to make sure that all those who require these services, educational services, get them. Then we cannot continue to leave out corporate bodies who have ways of using their foundations for good causes. We know you are focusing on things, but it's not enough to put all your money on pageants. Nobody's saying pageants are not good, but do good causes.
All right.
In causes that you cannot be paid, but you can be thanked forever. And Ghanaians, we all claim to be religious, believing in an afterlife reward. So corporate bodies should think about that, not think about immediate gratification and sales, but those that they can do to help the less privileged who cannot pay them back except through prayers.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Yarrow. Peter Yarrow is Executive Director of Basic Needs and NGO. You're watching Joynews Komla Adom.